All hail the Clicks crew. Alright guys, today we're taking a look at the three best, at least in my opinion, modern age Magneto Heroclix figures. This is a really cool Marvel Comics character that a lot of people like, and I'm happy that we have so many to pick from that I'm able to do a top 3 list. So these are going to be in no particular order, and if you've seen this type of video before, you know that once I talk about all 3 of them, whatever one is my favorite, we will do a 300 point modern age team build for. But before we get into that, I want to take the time to let you know that Mr. Clicksflix is sponsored by Lucky Dice Cafe out of Huntsville, Alabama, home of the ROC. No matter if you're in the United States or around the world, Lucky Dice Cafe has a winning role for our gaming needs. You can visit them on their webpage or on their Facebook page using the links found in the description of this video. Mr. Clicksflix is also sponsored by TrollandToad.com, one of the largest online gaming retailers. Visit TrollandToad.com and use the promo code MrClicksFlix for 5% off your Heroclix order today. Alright guys, so now that we have that done, we're going to talk about these Magnetos and what they do, pros, cons, because, you know, even one that might end up being my favorite probably has some kind of downside or something like that. So the first one we're going to talk about is the Danger Room Construct Magneto from the X-Men The Dark Phoenix Saga, X-Men The Animated Series, The Dark Phoenix Saga. So this guy is really cool. He's got a lot of neat stuff going on here. So we're going to go ahead and talk about that. He's got the Brotherhood of Mutants and robot keywords. He's number 11B from that set. He's got 3 traits. First one is Danger Room Construct. When Magneto makes an attack, after resolutions, give him an error token for each one in the attack roll, maximum 3. If Magneto has 2 or less error tokens, characters take a maximum of 1 damage from Magneto's attacks. Magneto takes a maximum of 1 damage from opponent's attacks. And he can't be healed or chosen for Mastermind Protected Pulse Wave. So, right off the bat, that doesn't seem too good. But then he's got this other trait, which is Lessons from the Danger Room Magneto. If Magneto is KO'd by an opposing character for the rest of the game, that character can use Energy Shield Deflection. Again, that's kind of a drawback. And then he's got this third trait, which is Simulated Master of Magnetism Force Blast. When Magneto knocks back an opposing character, you may choose the direction of the knockback. That's really cool. So the first trait is actually a blessing in disguise for this guy. So he's got, he's only 50 points, has the Brotherhood of Mutants team ability, an 8 range dual target, which is actually pretty long in today's game. He's got an 11 movement with running shot and the flight ability, 12 attack, psychic blast, 18 defense with toughness and indomitability, 4 range with range combat expert. So really what you want to do is you want to get those error tokens if you're trying to use him as your main attacker, which you're probably not. You want to try to get those error tokens off as quickly as you can. You know, try to roll, you know, 3s, anything that involves a 1 on one of your die, something like that. Now, the nice thing about him is that in today's game, he's only 50 points, which means he can call in most of the major call-ins, and he only takes a maximum of 1 damage from an opponent's attack. So as long as you're not rolling attack rolls, they're gonna have to hit him 5 times to knock him out, which is really, really good, and that's really his selling point, is if you want to use him as kind of like a call-in battery. So this is a Magneto that doesn't necessarily play like Magneto, but he still does some really cool stuff, and he is one of my favorites. And if you do get those error tokens off for 50 points, as you can see, he's just whacking people left and right. So definitely like him a lot. The next one we're going to go ahead and take a look at is the title character Magneto from the X-Men Heroclix set. I can't remember the name of the set right now. There's been so many of them, but the X-Men set that we had here, X-Men First Class, something like that. But anyway, he's got the Acolytes and Brotherhood of Mutants keywords. He has 1 trait, which is a title ability, and we're going to take a look at that here in a second. But here's his dial. As you can see, for 100 points, he's pretty beefy, even without knowing what his title ability is. I'd say that he was decent. He's got the Brotherhood of Mutants team ability, 7 range, which is pretty long, 9 movement with running shot, and a flight ability, 11 attack, psychic blast, 18 defense, invulnerability, 4 damage with leadership. So pretty good there. Then we're going to go ahead and take a look at what he does as a title character. So for those of you that don't know what a title character is, it's kind of like a Planeswalker in Magic the Gathering. They start with so many points, and then you add or remove them depending on what the character does. So he starts with 3 plot points, and then his first one is a +1, which is free. All friendly characters within range modify attack +1 until your next turn. So he's a great team player in that respect, and then he adds a token for that. Then he's got a -2, which is called Magnetic Wave. Free, move all friendly characters within range up to 2 squares. So that's kind of like a free breakaway, and you can use that in addition to sidestep and stuff like that. So it gives you free movement, which is always good. And then -9, so you'd have to do the +1 6 times without doing a minus at all. To get to it, and it's the Dream of Supremacy, free for the rest of the game as long as Magneto Realist is on the map. Friendly characters modify damage +1. So once you do that, and then you just start doing the +1 to keep doing attacks, you can make your team +1 attack, +1 damage, which is really good there. And then there's some drawbacks if you KO them, but we're gonna not worry about that right now. This is a good. To me, this is a good Magneto for sort of like a team player leader. Like, you're going to have other things on your team when you use them, but he helps out your team, and he's very competent on his own. And I love the sculpt on this one with the floating parts and stuff like that. And then the last Magneto we're going to take a look at is the Colossal Magneto from the X-Men the Animated Series, the Dark Phoenix Saga set. So he's got some cool stuff going on. He's got... Here, we'll just take a look at what he's got here real quick. So he's got one trait, which is leadership. Free, choose an opposing character, or choose a character within range and line of fire. Place that character in a square adjacent to its current square. So that's something that's really cool. Board manipulation is always good. Mankind's destruction at hand. Pulse wave telekinesis. When Magneto uses pulse wave, he can use improved targeting, blocking. After resolutions, destroy all blocking squares within that use of pulse wave range, and if 2 or more blocking squares are destroyed in this way, generate a standard object. Telekinesis is free, but only make an object attack. So you use your pulse wave, and then you get to make a free object attack if you destroyed 2 squares of blocking. Then he's got Magnetic Shield. Magneto has protected, penetrating psychic blast, impervious. When Magneto is attacked, modify defense +1 for every 2 squares the attacker is away from them. So range attackers have a real hard time with him. And then he's got a Colossal Retaliation right there too. And he's got a few different point lines. He's got 300 points, 200 points, 100 points, and 25 points. So this is my big boy Magneto. This is the one I tend to reach for if I want to just run Magneto as a one-man army. He is okay to throw on as a 25-point kind of add-on to some teams because he does have the Acolytes, Brotherhood of Mutant, Hellfire Club, and Ruler. So he's a cheap ruler for stuff like that, or Hellfire Club if you're into that type of thing too. But yeah, he's really good. I like him at 200 points, 25 points, then 300 points if I just want to run one figure. But as you can see here, we've got kind of a gambit, if we're going to be allowed to make a pun here, of different Magnetos. They're really used pretty differently. So this is a very nice set here. Nobody's overlapping. So for me personally, my favorite one to use is I don't normally use too many just call-in battery, don't die style teams. And I don't really use too many one-man armies. So this is my favorite Magneto right now. He's a really good team player and main attacker. He's 100 points. So if you do want to call in figures, he can call in basically anybody you would need. He has an 11 attack for 4 damage. He can hand out +1 attack to everybody within range. He's got leadership, so you're getting your +1 movement. I'm sorry, your +1 action. And then he's also got, if you get to that -9, he's giving everybody +1 damage. And then he's also able to make it so that friendly characters can move 2 squares for free. So if somebody gets in trouble and they need to move out of adjacency from somebody, he can do that. They can try to roll for a free breakaway, basically. Or if somebody has sidestep, but they need to move farther than that, you can use it to try to catch your opponent off guard. So I like this guy a lot. So what we're going to do is we're going to build a Brotherhood of Mutant theme team for Magneto. And it's going to be pretty fun. So the first thing we're going to do is Running Shot and Psychic Blast work together, but I want to amp up this Magneto just a little bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to throw a Goblin Glider on him. This isn't something that I'd normally do, but for this video we'll do it. So it's 8 points. It provides running shot. If the character is named Green Goblin or can already use running shot, this character can use hypersonic speed. So for 8 points, we're giving him hypersonic speed on his first 2 clicks, which is pretty good. That's pretty economical. So we're going to go ahead and do that with Magneto. Then for Brotherhood of Mutants purposes, we're going to go ahead and give him the Blob. This is a good tie-up guy, a good henchman type figure. So let's see, what does the Blob do here? So he's got a 2 traits and a special on his defense. So he's got trait, which is once per turn, when an effect other than clearing removes an action token for Blob. After resolutions, heal 1 click. So that could be the leadership for Magneto if you wanted to. Then he's got nothing moves the Blob immobile, but only if it's not your turn. So opposing teams can't TK him. At the end of your turn, a Blob was not moved or placed. Give him a stability token. Blob modifies defense +1 for each stability token. When he's moved or placed, remove his stability token. So you can get him up to a +3 defense if you wanted to. And then he's got this special on his defense, which is Blob takes a maximum of 1 damage from attacks. Blob can only be chosen for Mastermind if character that that he shares a keyword with protected outwit pulse wave. So there he is. He's only 60 points, has an 11 attack with charge, and again, he's just here to kind of tie some guys up, make it so that Magneto can run around and do what he needs to do, but he is able to get up to that 20 defense, so he's able to shut off some things for your opponent. And something we're going to do is we're going to use another piece of equipment, and we're going to put it on the Blob here, and it's going to be the Remaker Ring. It's just to give him an extra layer of protection. Poison, shape change. So if somebody does come adjacent to him, he can use the poison, and he's got the shape change for an extra layer of defense. So I really like that combo on him. The next thing we're going to take a look at is another close combat oriented person, because I feel like range combat is pretty well taken care of with Magneto. And so we're going to go ahead and use Spiral from the Dark Phoenix Saga Heroclix set. She also has the Brotherhood of Mutants keywords. She's got this Mutant Brother and Sister trait, which is once per turn when an effect other than clearing removes an action token from Spiral. Here, after resolutions, heal her 1 click. She's got this Interdimensional Scout power that's special on her movement, which is phasing teleport plasticity. When Spiral uses phasing teleport, moves 5 or less. After resolution, she can use both Incapacitate and Telekinesis at no cost in either order. So that's really good there. The ability to move and then use TK, or move and use Incap, is just really good. It frees up a lot of things. And then she's got a special on her damage, which is Perplex and Probability Control. So really good there. So as you can see, she's got a 4 range triple target, so the ability to basically use that triple incap is great. She's got a 12 movement, so she's able to phasing out really far. She's got an 11 attack with precision strike, 18 defense with super senses, 3 damage, shape change, and the Brotherhood of Mutants team ability. I like her a lot. She's a good tie-up figure, stuff like that. She's able to hold people in place so that Magneto can make his attack. And one last figure we're going to add, because we got some points for it, is somebody that can kind of help this team get around. So we're going to go ahead and use Amelia Vaught from the Dark Phoenix Saga Heroclix set, because she also has a power that we're lacking, at least top dial, which is Perplex. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at what she does right now. So she has this first trait, which is Mutant Messiah. At the beginning of the game, for all characters with this trait, choose a friendly character with the Acolytes or Brotherhood of Mutants or X-Men keywords. That character can use Mastermind, but only to choose characters with this trait. So obviously we're going to use Magneto to be able to Mastermind that damage off to Amelia Vaught. Then she has the special on her movement, which is facing teleport passenger 4, but only to carry characters that share a keyword with her, so she can carry Spiral and the Blob. Then she's got this special on her defense, which is super senses. Once per turn, when Amelia Vaught or another friendly character would take 3 or more damage, you may give that character 2 action tokens and take 1 unavoidable damage instead. If you do, after resolutions, you may place that character in a square adjacent to her current... If you do, after resolutions, you may place that character in a square adjacent to her current square. So that's pretty neat there that you're able to get somebody out of danger for that. And as I told you, we're basically using her for the perplex, but she also does have support, which is pretty helpful there. And she's able to use theme probs and stuff like that. So that is the basis of this team. Those are the figures that are pretty much on here. So we're gonna equip Goblin Glider and Remaker Ring. We're gonna use her to carry out the blob, and she's gonna pick Magneto for the Mastermind special. Although one could argue that you would use the blob so that he'd be able to Mastermind off some damage. Just as a thought. And then we have Spiral here to just kind of run some interference. Really tie, the triple in cap is heinous, and then you also have the free TK so that you could, conceivably phasing her in, triple target in cap, and then TK, use her TK to TK Magneto into a spot where he's able to make a really strong Psychic Blast attack. And, that's just going to be devastating to your opponent. So you guys let me know what your favorite Magneto is in Modern Age. I always enjoy reading that stuff. Let me know what you think of this little team here. I think it's fun. I always enjoy reading that stuff. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, give it a share. It really helps keep me motivated to make these videos. That's all I have for you today. As always, please remember this: only critical miss if you don't have probability control.